Hello everyone. Utlasish ayanchat histakshit ahozet nuchonaltlat tlakish beat maas. I'm ayanchat or Aapwaik, otherwise known as Sean Atleo, coming to you from the heart of Algonquin, unceded Algonquin territories here at the Assembly of First Nations office in Ottawa. Greetings to everyone. I want to provide just a brief update for the month of December, and in particular reflect on the assembly that happened this week here. We had over 1,000 delegates come together, and we had a new approach that we had introduced. It was an approach that, and I appreciate the chiefs and the executive for their support to open up the conversation to the grassroots, to ensure an opportunity for youth and women and elders and all of our citizens at this assembly to have their voice heard as well in the caucus sessions that took place on Monday before the assembly started on important topics like climate change, education, health, water, the implications of the Human Rights Act, for example. We also had a parliamentary session, reception with parliamentarians on the Monday before the assembly started. Chiefs and grand chiefs and delegates gathered with members of parliament, senators, and we had an ambassador there as well for a discussion about First Nations Crown relations, and that was the overall theme of the assembly that took place this week. And we did work hard to achieve consensus in our assembly to establish our priorities and to define a path forward. The work and the results will be communicated to you along with the resolutions on our website, and the webcast that took place this week during the assembly will also be archived so that we ensure that we're sharing that with all of you. A few of the highlights for me particularly, and there were many, included the conversations that I had with many of the nations. I sat down, for example, with the Iroquois Confederacy and appreciated the conversation we had, and that notion that the Assembly of First Nations is here to support nations as they pursue the upholding of treaties, of title and rights. And this was a theme consistent when I met with groups like the Innu from northern Quebec, who've been challenged most recently with the seizure of caribou that will be for feeding the people this winter, and the rifles and sleds being seized. And it does remind us about how much work we have yet to do to ensure that our people are cared for and our rights upheld. Lots more work to do on the relationship with governments. And the Dakota chiefs as well, having met with them as they seek to have their inherent title and rights upheld, and that their territories and the relationships stretch over the international U.S.-Canada border reminds us of our relationship with First Nations that are in the United States, that these are our relatives, and we will continue to work hard to build relationships with First Nations in the United States. Major theme of treaties was front and center as a way through which we talk about our work. The treaty rights that were forged by the ancestors, and the treaty rights that is about a relationship with the Crown, about mutual respect, mutual recognition, and achieving mutual benefit from the wealth and resources of the land. And I want to thank the executive and all of the staff for their support in organizing our work through the lens of treaties. Education certainly has emerged as a major priority, and it's a treaty right embedded powerfully, for example, in Treaty 3. Grand Chief Diane Kelly reminded of this throughout the course of this assembly. And the chiefs, in fact, called for an emergency session, which took place. And we had a very deep dialogue and developed a plan of action. A plan of action that was about us taking our own power and implementing our rights, implementing our treaties, making sure that our young people are supported for success in life, reaching out to the broad Canadian society, saying it's time that everyone learned and understood about treaties and about title and rights. And there was a powerful message delivered, and we all appreciate Chief White Duck and Youth Co-Chair Colby Tutusas offering up a very powerful message that was supported by all of us about the role of education, and inviting the Minister of Indian Affairs and the federal government to walk with us. And I appreciate Minister Strahl, his presence at the Assembly, to listen to that really powerful, heartfelt message, and receiving that message and indicating a willingness to work with us. It's absolutely time that we work together with the rest of Canada to make things right in the area of education and of course, many other areas. Thank you as well to the Chiefs of Quebec and Labrador under the leadership of Regional Chief Picard for seeking that the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People be upheld and be implemented. And this work continues to be very important. And you can find this information on the Assembly of First Nations for Quebec and Labrador website. There's a petition that we would encourage people to sign on to and to encourage others to sign on to. So this was, in many respects, a beginning. And the next steps will include looking at all of the work that happened, the plans around areas like education, the resolutions, and they form a mandate. And now our responsibility as the Assembly of First Nations, along with the executive, and in fact all of us as First Nations have a responsibility now to act on the plans that we had expressed. Based on our inherent rights, based on our treaty and Aboriginal rights. There's a shared sense that this is the key to our health and prosperity. We left the Assembly definitely bound together by a shared commitment to work for a better future for all of our citizens, no matter where they reside, on or off reserve, on or off settlement lands, in isolated and rural areas, or in the urban settings. It's important for us to come together. So to all the delegates, a deep thank you, and to all the chiefs and grand chiefs, for your hard work and dedication that you showed to your people and your citizens this week during the Special Chiefs Assembly. Really appreciate the Assembly of First Nations Executive, the regional chiefs, for participating in and help facilitating and chair the sessions, demonstrating that leadership and care and concern for our role as advocates at the Assembly of First Nations. And I know everyone really appreciates the Assembly of First Nations staff, incredibly hardworking, putting in tremendous volunteer time during this assembly. They don't happen on their own. We know that people are dedicated and deeply care about their people. And so on all of our behalf, I want to thank our Assembly of First Nations staff. As we approach a new year, I believe after this assembly more than ever that it is our time as nations, as Indigenous peoples of the land, as First Nations, to move forward. And so let's do that. We can turn the page to a new chapter together. I wish the best in the new year to you and to your family, a safe and happy holidays. Chu, aona, tleko, tleko.